Hey everybody, this is your girl Nikki Nicole of Divas of the Round Table Podcast. I'm joined here today with my lovely co-hosts, Ladybug and Spicy Red. On today's show, we have writer, director, and producer Tamera Hill. Tamera Hill was born in Columbus, Ohio, and raised in San Diego, California. This married mother of two beautiful girls in college is known for her gifted writing abilities and unique perspective in storytelling. Tamera Hill first captivated the West Coast, touring her stage plays and selling out theaters. Her love for film drew her to the big screen in 2014. Her first film, entitled Never Heard, was written and co-produced by her. The film starred David Banner, Robin Givens, Romeo Miller, Brian White, and Dorian Wilson. The film went on to grace 800 screens at AMC theaters and then on to Netflix, BET Plus, and PureFlix platforms. Tamera put on her independent producer's hat, along with writing and directing, and produced the comedy, The Matchmaker, family drama, The Love of a King musical, and comedy, workplace drama. Her newest film, The Secret Between Us, was selected by the American Black Film Festival and will be premiering nationwide June 13th, 2025 in Miami, Florida. Tamera is in pre-production for her first pilot series, The Fixer. This CEO and co-owner of streaming platform Hidden Gem Entertainment is a busy woman with many projects slated in 2026. You can find her works on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, YouTube, and Google. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Divas of the Round Table, the very talented and gifted Tamera Hill.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here with you ladies, beautiful ladies, by the way.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to just chatting and talking.
Yes, because you know, you are almost like a little unicorn. It's not that many people in your sorority of being a Black producer, writer, director.
Yes. I shared something on my Facebook page the other day. It was all the filmmakers that had grossed $100 million on their movies. And Ava DuVernay was the only woman out of, I think it was like, maybe like 25, 30 filmmakers on there. They were all men. Wow. And she was the only woman. And I posted it. I said, Ava's looking a little lonely. Maybe I need to, I need to be beside her on this. So, you know, if it's the Lord's will, I sure would like to be on that poster with her. But yeah, it gets lonely as a woman.
Yes.
And a Black woman. Yes. On top of that. And it's really hard sometimes in the industry being a woman. And it has many challenges.
Okay.
You know, but the Lord is with me.
Yes.
So that was one of my questions. What are the challenges that you face as a female and as an African American producer? So what are the challenges that you?
Well, you know, sometimes you run into men who think they know best, and you know, sadly, you know, there's some male chauvinists out there, you know, and some old heads. I've been doing this, you know, for a long time. They're not looking at it as an opportunity to even teach, you know, but to dictate, you know. And the industry, you know, I say to anyone that's trying to get into the industry, be careful what you ask for. You know, I had someone say to me, I wish I were you. I said, no, you don't. No, you don't. If you knew all the things that I've had to go through in this industry as a woman, you wouldn't say that. You would not say that.
So at any point, did you ever want to like give up and say, you felt defeated and say, I can't do this no more?
Yes, I've done that several times. And I've said that to my husband. Thank God for my husband, because he's able to help me navigate through a lot of those issues that I have with my other male counterparts, you know. So with that being said, yes, I've quit and told God plenty of times, I don't want to do this no more. Why did you call me to this? You know, why did you call me to this? This is hard, you know, dealing with the industry and how people are, you know, people who you're dealing sometimes with godless people.
Yes.
You know, and they don't know the Lord, don't care to know the Lord, and they're not into, you know, I have a purpose and a reason for what it is that I'm doing, you know, to inspire, to uplift my community, my people. I'm a servant to my community. And a lot of them are not even on that page.
Yes.
They're not even, it's about money for them. You know, if it ain't making dollars,
It ain't making
you know,
sense.
and if I can't be in the front, in the forefront, well, then that's a problem too. You know, a lot of people are in the industry for whatever reason that may happen to them when they were younger. Maybe they didn't get any attention. Maybe they got bullied because they were short or this or that and the other. So you have a lot of those people in this industry that are like that, that have something to prove, and they choose this industry to be in front and to bully people. You know, and it's really challenging, but it has its don't get me wrong, it has its beautiful moments as well. It's been very kind to me in a lot of areas as well. And the people that I've encountered along the way, I've encountered some wonderful people, you know, people who because I'm not trained, I didn't go to film school or anything like that. I started as a playwright. And was doing plays and segued into film because a guy called me from Dallas and he said, girl, he was just like, when you gonna stop doing those plays? When you gonna get into film? Because my plays, when you would see my plays, they felt like films. When you would see them, it's because I was already in that mindset of doing films. And I said, you know what? As a matter of fact, I have a script that I've already worked on, you know, check it out. And it got chosen out of 5 other scripts. And that's how I got into film. So I've had people along the way that have, you know, reached out, you know, and got me started in my career. And also people along the way that have taken the time to train me, you know, mentors and people, you know, high up in the industry that said, hey, you know, come on to my set, you know, a $20 million set with Universal Studios. Went out to Atlanta and was able to spend time and just sit there right beside the director, you know, on almost Christmas and sit there and learn everything, you know, from the cinematographer down to the PAs, you know, and what everybody did, what their function was and their purpose was. And just different people that would help me with my screenplay writing and different things like that. Now I have a few people that I can call on for producing. You know, she's a female. I want to give her a shout out. Her name is Angela White. You know, anytime I have a question or, you know, concern about something, I'm able to call this sister up. And she knows the industry back and forward. So she's able to answer those questions. So, you know, it's been kind to me as well. Yeah.
Well, can you break down the roles of writer, producer, and director for those who may not know it? Because you just mentioned a few of those. Can you break down the roles?
Absolutely. Writer is the one that writes the story, of course, the one who starts the whole process. And writing, I would say, is my first love. Out of everything. If I had to choose out of the 3, I would choose writing all day long because the stories just keep coming all the time.
Can I interject in there and ask a specific thing? With you have a person that maybe writes something, and then is a screenwriter different? Is that a person that takes that and adapt it for film?
No, they're one and the same.
They're one and the same.
Yeah.
Okay, so a person that write the book, Are
mean a book?
Yeah, like if you take a book and then you
adapt
say
it.
you're going to adapt it.
Yeah.
Is that a difference?
Yeah, that's a difference. You're the writer of the book.
Of the book.
And then you do an adaptation of the book. You're the screenplay writer.
Screenplay writer. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, and the director, of course, is the visionary that takes that script and sits with the writer, asks a lot of questions and is clear on the vision and able to execute it with all of the cast and crew.
Okay.
And the producer is producer has a lot of responsibility. They do the hiring. They find the investors.
Okay.
And, they're over the whole logistical process of the film. So that's a lot. That's my least favorite.
I was going to ask you. That was one of my questions. Since you have on your projects worn all three hats, which was your favorite and your least favorite? So being the producer, because you have to have your hand on every moving part of
everything.
This. Okay.
Everything and all people, all personalities.
Okay.
You have to deal with that. So if I had to choose, it would be writing and directing. I enjoy directing. I enjoy working with my cast and just bringing out the story, the character, developing that with them, and just watching them shine on set and then on the screen. And that's just a joy for me.
Is it easier for you when you write them, when you write the stories, because it's your vision, so you can say for sure how, where versus you trying to interpret somebody's vision. It's your vision, so it's easier when it's your
it's
movie.
easier, but I try not to be that director that tells you how to act.
Okay.
Because they'll do exactly that. You want to give that actor the space to interpret it their way.
Right.
Okay.
I've had in my mind sometimes, I'll set up the environment. What's important most is setting up the environment to cause them to do some of the things that you want to do. Put a table in the way to make them trip.
Okay.
Different things like that. So build the environment around them to bring out what it is that you want. Okay. And that goes from set design, all of that. You know what I mean? And with that being said, let the actor have its own interpretation. And I've been very surprised sometimes when I let that happen, because I could be thinking that I want it one way. And then they do something to surprise me. And I'm like, I like that. Let's keep that. And I try to use verbs, when I'm speaking to the actors, just to kind of peek what it is that I'm going for. But I'm not going to tell you, I need you to cry right here. And I need you to do this and do that. That's not a good thing. You want those things to happen naturally. Yeah. So and you talk about beforehand, before you get on the set, what does the character want? What is the character after? And you talk about all those things. So you kind of get the development part of the character out of the way before you even step on the set, and everybody pretty much has an understanding. What's supposed to happen.
Do you ever draw from your personal experience when writing or producing?
Yeah. Yeah. Mostly everything that I write, particularly this last one called The Secret Between Us, those come from life experiences. Everybody's like, where did this story come from? I don't think this story has ever been done. It's a collaboration of all my life experiences, the death of my mom. My mom just passed on March 4th of this year.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And, some childhood surprises for me, and father and daughter relationship, how that father and daughter relationship affects me now, being married to my husband now. And it just, all those life experiences I just put into the scripts, and I pray before I write every script. I pray and I said, Lord, you give me the words to put in the script. You give me the words that will inspire and that will uplift people, that will deliver, that will provoke thought. You give me those words. And I depend on the Holy Spirit to guide me every time I get on that computer and I begin to write.
Okay.
So this was a question I had. How did your parents help mold you with both of them being business owners? Because I looked at, they were both business owners.
Yeah. My dad, oh my goodness, he worked a lot. He had his regular job and he ran a janitorial service as well. So I rarely saw my dad. I saw my dad work very, very hard. But that relationship with my dad, it probably didn't start until I was more of an adult.
Gotcha.
And when he started to slow down a little bit. And my mom, she owned a clothing store.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I helped her with that. You know, she would take me after school to her store, pick me up, take me to the store. So I was learning business back then. And she included me a lot in her business transactions and things that she did. So back then I was learning how to run a business. You know, they were teaching me, you know, even then. So I thank my parents for that, you know, instilling those practices in me.
And you carried it on because your two daughters have businesses.
Yeah.
Your two daughters have businesses as well.
Yeah.
So what kind of businesses do your daughters have?
Yeah, let me tell you a quick story about that. It was during COVID. And they were moping around the house, you know, talking about, oh, there's nothing to do, it's boring, and we can't go out, this is crazy, Mom. I said, I'll tell you what, you know, and I challenged the both of them. I said, you got to start a business. They was like, what? I was like, start a business and tell me what it is that you want to do, and I'm going to help you do that. You know, we're going to set up the whole thing just like from beginning to end. And my youngest daughter, she has cutie lip gloss.
Oh, okay.
So she ordered everything to make lip gloss and got in the kitchen, did her thing and made her lip gloss, put it in the tube, everything. Then I showed her how to market it. She marketed it and she sold out. And when
she was so happy.
Imagine that. Okay. Imagine, I think she was 15 or 16 at the time. Imagine a 16-year-old experiencing selling out of a product that she put her hands on and made, and she did the hard work to make that happen. So it was very rewarding. And my oldest daughter, she loves music. So she wanted to start a website where you download her music. You know, so she makes beats and everything and downloadable. She still hasn't finished the process yet. She's still working on it. And she's just, you know, she loves music. And so I challenged both of them to do that, and that's what they did.
All right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this about with your husband. Of course, I met you guys the other day, and it was mentioned that he does set design. So has he worked with you on any of your projects?
Oh yeah, that's how he got me. That's how he got me. Like really, he was in hot pursuit for a minute, and I knew him from church. I knew him 17 years, and his wife passed away.
Okay.
And I knew his wife, I knew him and his little girl. And so we, how did we first connect? Okay, we first connected when I heard about his wife being at the hospital, and I went up there to see her. She was getting ready to pass, and he was surprised to see me in the room. I didn't say nothing. I just came, you know, heard, you know, through the church and everything, and I went up and he walked in. I think I had my hand on her foot, and I was just kind of praying for her and whatnot. And so I think like 6 months went past, and I had just got, you know, a divorce, and 6 months had passed, and I think he called me, and he was like, "Hey, sis, I just called to see how you doing," and he was calling to thank me for something that I did. I can't remember what it was, And and I don't know. He made some comments, and I was like, "This brother, that's brother Eddie. He better stop tripping, because I looked at him as brother Eddie." Mm-hmm. And so time went on and whatnot, and I found out, okay, he does have an interest in me, but I had, just came out of the divorce, and it was going to be my daughter and no more. This is going to be me and her no more.
Yeah.
And I wasn't thinking about getting remarried. I was thinking about my career and everything like that. And so he came to me one time and he said, God said, you're going to be my wife.
Uh-oh. Okay.
And I said, well, God told you wrong. And I closed the door. Because I had his daughter, my daughter and his daughter were good friends, became good friends. Mm-hmm. And so she was over to the house for a play date. And he came over to pick her up and he said that. And I closed the door right on his face and said, no, God didn't tell me that. And closed the door. And he just really heavily pursued. And one day I said to him, hey, I need I said to myself, I don't see how much this guy really, really likes me. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, I need a set built for this play that's coming up. Here's what I need. And he was like, oh, I've never done that before. And I was like, oh, okay, well. He was like, no. He said, wait, I'll figure it out.
Oh.
He said, I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. And next thing I knew, I had a whole set.
And a whole husband.
Yes, a whole set. And I was like, oh, this man, okay, he loves me. Yes. And I saw the attention and the love that he put into it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I was just like, whoa,
Yes.
I was like, started thinking about, now that's what I was missing in the last marriage. He didn't support me.
Right.
I'm not even married to this man.
Yes.
And he's supporting me like this. I was like, and that's when we started dating. And I don't think it was 6 months later. I think we were married 6 months later.
I don't know, Miss Tamera. I think I hear a movie or something. I hear something.
Everybody says that.
Yeah.
It's a movie.
Yeah.
If you were to
Everybody
do a
says that.
movie, who would be a good actress to play you?
Ooh, I don't know. I like Sanai lately.
Yes.
I think she would probably be a good and throw Morris Chestnut in there for my husband.
Yeah. Oh, I should say, who was going to play that?
Yeah.
That's love and basketball.
Not late that she has so much depth. And she's so fluid as an actress.
She is.
And she's beautiful.
And she's beautiful.
I agree. I totally agree.
How do you decide which projects to work on or produce? Like, what is the process that you go through when deciding what? Yeah.
Prayer. It's as simple as that.
Okay.
Prayer. Lord, I'm seeking God right now. I'm like, okay, do you want me to do this one? You do want me to do that one? How, and I say, okay, God, let your will be done.
Yes.
And he always makes a way for resources and the people, and he gives me little clues on which way I should go.
Yes.
He doesn't speak audibly all the time. He just sends signs sometimes, like this is what you should be doing. And you just know in your spirit.
Do you ever have creative blocks? And if you do, how do you handle them?
It's not possible. It's not possible. When you're getting stories from on high, from the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the greatest creative person of all time.
Yes.
I never get writer's block.
It's always flowing.
Never had it. Always flowing. Okay. Always.
So let me ask you this, because this is one of my questions. As a child, did you know that you were creative, or you had this in you as a child? So you were doing things as a child, like writing?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. As a child, I was already talking to my characters. I'd be in my room.
She had the dolls lined up.
Now you do this. You do this, and you gonna go. And I'm just talking, and I'm so embarrassed to say this. I think I did this all the way up until 13.
Hey.
13, 14 years old.
You was
laying the foundation.
You was working your gift.
Yeah. And a lot of what we do in our childhood you know, is our purpose, and we don't realize it. You know, I did those things and also wrote, and, you know, I enjoyed writing and just making up stories. I was drawing all the time, being creative, anything creative, you know, I had my hands in it. And, you know, as you get into your 16, 17 teenage years, you think you're cute. And then 19, 20, you think you're really cute then. You know, you go out into the world. So all the creative part of me kind of just lay dormant for a little while.
Yes.
And I got pregnant with my daughter. And that's when my creativity started coming back to me. I was still. You know, I wasn't doing anything. God knew what he was doing when he put me on bed rest.
Yes.
And then I was like, well, let me write this book that's been in my head. And I started writing the book. And I said, you know what? I want this to be a play. This will make a wonderful play. And I started putting everything together in my head. Then I put it on paper. I had never done a play before. And I said, you know what? Okay, let me go and secure a theater. All this was a faith walk, okay? I went, and I remember taking money out of my what do you call it? Not 401k, but it was a retirement account that I had. I took $11,000 out of that account, and I walked into the theater, and I gave them my deposit, and I said, I want to do a play. And they was like, have you ever done it before? I said, no, but you know, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And they didn't usually do that.
Right.
They didn't usually do that because the type of Lyceum Theater, the type of theater it was, they already had their set schedules with their shows and, you know, local producers and stuff like that they would work with. You know, they had to know you, even to let you in the door. So I know that was God. And I hired actors, musicians. I wrote the music along with another friend and got all the rehearsals and all that. And I'm telling you, by the end of it and the result of it, we had sold out shows.
Oh, wow.
Every time. My first play was called Colorblind.
Okay.
And it was about interracial relationships and the reason why we do them. And so, man, I had folks mad at me, you know, for breaking that process down and the storyline. And then other people loved it. And it was a lot of controversy there. But I enjoyed that. You know, it's like stories are not always going to make you happy.
Right.
It's not always going to be the ending that you want, you know, but it provoked you to think about some things. I know it did that. You know, so, yeah.
So let's talk about your first film, Never Heard. How was it working with people like David Banner, Robin Givens, you know, people who had already been in the industry in one way or another, Romeo Miller, you know, how did it feel working with those guys?
I didn't direct that film. I just wrote it.
You just wrote it? Okay. So were you on set?
I was on set. And,
Okay.
I was able to, you know, talk to them about the character. Sometimes they had questions about that. So they were able to talk to me as a writer. I don't think the director really had an understanding of what it was that I was trying to do with the story.
Yeah.
And a lot of things actually were kind of changed, you know, and I was kind of like shocked. But that's what happens sometimes when you give your work to somebody else to interpret and to put their vision to it. So that's some of the things you have to deal with. And he was an interesting guy, I'll tell you that much. But working with David Banner, he's a cool dude.
Yeah.
He's a really cool dude. He is what he says he is. You know, Robin, very professional. Romeo, very professional.
Yes.
Everybody came in and did their job. Karen Abercrombie from the War Room, she was magnificent. She walked up to me. She said, anything you doing, I'm doing. That's what she said. She said, keep writing, keep doing what you're doing. She said, call me when you're ready. And I did. I called her for The Secret Between Us.
Okay.
We just did. It's a little small role, but but I have something that's coming up with her as a lead. So
Nice.
I'm real excited about that. Yeah.
So with Never Heard, and you said you don't think the director kind of saw your vision as a writer, how you wrote it. Is that one of the things that kind of catapulted you into becoming a director? Because now you have, you can tell your own story.
Yeah, right. You are absolutely right. After that experience and just, it felt non-inclusive. It just felt like I just wasn't valued.
Okay.
And I'll just put it at that. It's so much I could say, but we want to keep it professional.
Yeah.
We want to keep it, classy. So, and that's one of those things we were talking about earlier, being a woman and being respected in the industry, for what it is that you do.
Yes.
But yes, it did inspire me deeply to start doing my own films, and sometimes God lets you be in some stuff to push you to where you're supposed to be, because, I'm like, oh, I'm a writer. That's it. And God had much more for me. No, you're a director as well.
You put yourself in a box. And he blew the box wide open.
He blew it wide open. He blew it wide open. And I think he did it with this last one too. He blew some things wide open and said, okay, God, okay, I know what you need me to do, and I know where you want me to be. And you learn in that process. If it never blows up, you're never going to learn anything.
Because you get comfortable at that level.
Yeah. And he wants me to learn at all levels, smaller budgets, then mid budgets, then bigger budgets, It's like he's taking me on a journey to learn every level there is. To know. So that when he really puts me out there into the world, I'll know a couple things.
You'll be ready to
I'll be more knowledgeable than what I was.
Tell us about this latest projects that you have going on and your premiere that's happening in Miami next week.
Yeah.
So let the audience know about what you have going on with that.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's called The Secret Between Us. It has Michael Jai White, Lisa Arundel, and Victoria Rowell, and a newcomer, Trey Ryan. Everybody be on the lookout for this brother, because he's very talented.
Okay.
And also Reggie Curley and some more newcomers. But the story is about a father who is admired, respected for his integrity, the way he carries himself, the way he has lived his life. And he gets a visit at the door one day that blows up his life, his entire life. And it jeopardizes his marriage, his relationship with his daughter. And he also, finds, a son that comes into his life for some reasons that I want to keep under the rug.
Okay,
gotcha.
So we will keep that part a surprise, and the journey between the son and the father, to make it right, between them, and but there's some secrets between them, that need to be exposed. And, So
all right.
it's an awesome film. I keep hearing, this story has never been done before, and I can appreciate that. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. Somebody did it before. But it was selected by the American Black Film Festival.
Okay.
And so that's going to be on June the 13th.
Yes.
And it's not a premiere. It's just, a screening at the festival. So small group. I think it's only seats like 125 in there. And we're going to see what it does, and see how the people like it. This is our first little test run to see if everybody likes it. We've done some focus groups and some people, Michael White has done one. He's done one with 30 industry professionals in his home.
Okay.
And we do that, to ask, is there any notes, anything that we need to change? What do you see? Any holes, character development things? What is it? And he said he had no notes.
Okay. Nice.
Nobody gave notes. He said there wasn't a dry eye in the room.
Oh, wow.
He said everybody was like jacked up. He got cussed out by one lady. He said, She said, I didn't come in here for all that. You didn't tell me it was going to be that, you know.
Yeah.
So she about cussed him out, and that was funny. And when I've let probably several people see the film as well, and they thoroughly enjoyed it. So I think this is the one that'll catapult me to where I would like to be in the industry.
Okay.
What message do you want your audience to take away from your film?
Forgiveness. Forgiveness.
Okay.
That's the core of this story, The Secret Between Us. It's about forgiveness. It's about realizing that just because someone makes one mistake, it doesn't make them a bad man.
Right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So there you have it. It's Tamera Hill, writer, producer, director. You can catch her on Roku TV, Apple TV, any Netflix, Amazon, any streaming platform. Tubi, you can catch her movies there. It was a pleasure having you on the show today.
Yes.
You all know if y'all get that call from the school telling you to come pick your bad behind kids up. Think of my girl Ladybug. She's been in education going on what, 20?
I just finished my 27th
year.
Oh, wow. So you're going to be retiring soon?
It will be 28 years when school start back in. If you're riding down the highways and byways of the United States and you pass that FedEx truck, think of my girl Spicy Red. And if you think of anything dealing with love, peace, and prosperity, please think of me. Y'all be blessed. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.